Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is another play-in for the Chess.com Open 2026, I suppose. This is of course replacing the Chess.com Global Championship. It is a event all on its own, like the Speed Chess Championship, but it is feeding in to the Esports World Cup. My camera is a bit low. Anyway, more drama, or at least in my point of view. So we're going to have a quick look at what happened. Of course, in play-in one, lots of drama involving Fabiano Caruana, Hans Niemann, Nordbeck Abdusattorov, and another Grandmaster. Absolutely chaotic. Nordbeck's game, he wins despite being completely lost because someone disconnects. Fabiano Caruana is there, but they just forfeit him for no reason. Proctor causing huge amounts of problems. It doesn't, unless I've missed something, it doesn't seem like there were such issues in play-in 2, but still something to talk about in the end. We can talk about who qualified at the very least. So, going into the overall results, it is very interesting and we need to talk about it from the very beginning. This is what it looks like. Sorry for the delay, that coming up. The top 20 after all 9 rounds. We have Pranesh M and Wesley So. They both finished on 7.5 points. So you and I would be thinking, very straightforward, both of them qualify. Both of them qualify. Both of them qualify? No. For the second time in a row, Wesley So has to play a playoff. So Yu Yangyi, sorry, not Yu Yangyi, he's playing against Yu Yangyi, who finished on 7 points and finished in 3rd place. Pranesh M goes straight through. Because he finished top, they have the tiebreak system that they applied. They applied some tiebreaks. I can't remember exactly what they were, so you will have to forgive me. Pranesh M, he finishes top. Wesley So finishes 2nd, and it seems like in the rules, 2nd plays 3rd. Now, in the previous play-in, it made sense, because they were on the same number of points. Hans Niemann missing out in 4th place on 7 points. Not the same this time. Yu Yangyi was on 7. If we go back to the overall view, you will see that there's Arvind also on 7, as well as Alexander Botnik. So 3 players on 7 points. But Wesley So at 7.5. So Pranesh qualifies directly for the Chess.com Open, while Wesley So and Yu Yangyi will play a match for the 2nd spot. And Wesley So is the unluckiest man in chess. If you can't see here in the bottom, Yu Yangyi wins the Armageddon with white and qualifies over Wesley So for the Chess.com Open. So as it stands, our field now looks like this. Qualified through the winter split, Magnus Carlsen, Jan-Krzysztof Duda, Maxim Vasilyev, Denis Lazovic, Sam Sevian, Chokivar Sindarov, Arjun Ergaisi, Vincent Keimer. Jan Nepomniachtchi qualifying on Monday. Yes, it was Monday. Nordbeck Abdusattorov winning against Wesley So in that qualifier, I suppose. Pranesh M finishing top, and now Yu Yangyi joining them. There will, of course, be play-in 3 and 4 on March 23rd and 25th, but that is still coming after preliminary 2, which I will be streaming on Saturday. On Sunday will be titled qualifier 2. We most likely will not qualify for that, but we're going to do our best. Top 3 from preliminary 2 go into titled qualifier 2. Top 3 from there are allowed to participate in play-in 3 and play-in 4. And you see here, it's 10 plus 0, 9-round Swiss plus a qualification match. So you see the Swiss winner goes through to playoff spot 1. 2nd and 3rd place, irrespective of points, still play each other. Wesley So has now lost that twice. It is unbelievably heartbreaking for him. Unbelievably so. Hopefully he still qualifies and this isn't him ruining chances. Also, I don't think you could see him on the graphic. Fabiano Caruana was playing, but he had a horrible tournament. He had like 2 losses in the first 4 rounds, so his tournament was basically done from there. Parham Maksut is still kicking around, doing a much better performance. Benjamin Bach, Runik Sidwani also close, but not close enough. Daniel Dubov, Nicholas Theodorov, Vladislav Artemiev, Maxim Matlov, who was winning against Nordbeck Abdusattorov, but obviously disconnected. He misses out again. Now, he could have had half a chance in the previous thing had Nordjubek not won that game. Dmitry Andreykin, Nihal Sarin, all of them kicking about, Vijay Gujrati as well. So this is just crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, obviously Proctor is Proctor. We had a conversation about it. Someone mentioned in the comments. It's not great. It's just a comma improving it, but it is still not brilliant. But this is very, very weird. Heart goes out to Wesley, so hopefully he qualifies in one of these other two, because imagine getting to the qualifier match twice and losing twice. First to Nordberg and now to Yu Yangyi. Credit to Yu Yangyi for getting through. But it's just weird to me. Like, he finished second, half a point clear. Like, I could understand if they did, like, tie breaks between people who are on the same number of points. Obviously, this was the tournament rules before it happened, so I'm surprised just because I didn't read the rules. Because I just expected the top player to go through, the top two players to go through, and then if there's a tie, for them to arrange some tiebreak games. But those weren't the rules of the tournament. So, everyone signs up with the same rules, so we can't change them midway through, but it is very, very strange. When you consider, if we go back to that view, obviously we go into the Chess.com Open now, the prize fund for finishing last, effectively. So this is just the play-ins. Obviously, if you finish, you earn money through the play-ins, and then there's bonus and so on and so forth. But for the actual playoffs, if you just qualify and you win 0 games, you get $5,000. Obviously, the top 3 all qualify for the Esports World Cup, which is the main thing everyone is there for. But if you've already qualified for the Esports World Cup, which some players have, what are we doing here? I know Denis Lazovic still needs to go through, but Magnus, Hikaru, and Ferrugia have all qualified. That means there's going to be 2 new names, at least, if Magnus doesn't finish top 3. So Lazovic could get in again. Kyra is there. Duda is there, MVL is there, Jan is there. But, it's horrible. So for the play-ins, if you finish second, effectively Wesley So's finished third twice. Because, I don't know if they're doing it for a tie, but second qualifies for the spot, so you get no money. Wesley So technically finished second. So, Yu Yangyi, did he get the $1,500 as prize money? And then he's going to go into the playoffs? And then earn at least $5,000 for finishing 13th. If he finishes that low, has this cost Wesley some money? Absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, they're using the tie breaks. So, prize money is for the top 5. So, in this case, the points doesn't matter. But what about the other day? So, if we just go into the play-ins, you get money from 6th to 10th. You get $200, right? So 6th to 10th. So they're 6.5. So that means Daniel Dubov, Vijay Gujrati, Nicholas Theodoro, Vladislav Artemiev, Statmas Korolakis Arditis, Grigory Oparin, Maxim Matlov. All on 6 points. But because of tie breaks, they don't finish 9th and 10th and get $200. Now, for these players, $200 is not a lot of money. But still, it is very, very strange, ladies and gentlemen. Am I the only one that finds this strange? Am I now pulling at straws, thinking of rumors, complaining about the tournament for no valid reason? If I am, correct me in the comments down below. Please, if I'm out of line. I don't know if I am. I really, really don't. It's very interesting, very crazy to think what's going on. Just because, this is meant to feed into one of the more prestigious online tournaments. So, obviously, you've got the Speed Chess Championship, but that's dominated every year. Everyone's trying to get to the Esports World Cup, where there's lots of money. There's the esports contracts that you can get with the teams, and so on, and that could be worth a considerable amount of money, particularly if they're more than short-term contracts. If they're long-term contracts, that can be worth quite a bit. Like Magnus is on a long-term contract. But even then, just securing that contract could give you additional money, could give you prestige. You're linked to that team now. It comes with certain benefits. I'm almost certain of it. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I mean, this whole system, and I don't blame Chess.com for this. The Esports World Cup, they need to talk to them and say, this is what we want. but it's so mishmash. Like, this is a bit fairer because this is more in line with the format that you play in the Esports World Cup, which I believe is 10-0. So that makes sense that the Chess.com Open is going to be 10-0. Speed Chess Championship wasn't, and that's feeding in. Title Tuesday is 5-0, and that's how half the field qualifies. That's how most of the field is going to qualify for the Esports World Cup, regardless of what they do in the Chess.com Open. So what are we doing here? Does this not need to be fixed? We complained about FIDE and their formats and how the time controls and everything doesn't match. We should apply the same logic to online chess. You know, I'm hoping I won't be ranting every time that they have the Open for Plane 3 and Plane 4, and then I'm sure the event is going to be fantastic. I have no doubts about that. I still think the players are playing high-level chess, of course. It's just very, very interesting. We've had 2 play-ins. First one marked with a bit of controversy. This one less controversy, but still talking points, I think. Still lots of talking points. But again, hopefully Wesley So qualifies. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm wrong, comment down below. Tell me I'm wrong, and I will respond to you. Thank you so much.